The following program was produced by Cinema Milkshake.
What would you like to do now?
Go to the movies.
Now you're talking. I could be up for that.
So what have you got?
The stuff that dreams are made of.
What did you think?
It's the greatest movie I've ever seen in my life.
You're going to love this.
No, sir. I didn't like it.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
This whole thing's a bloody farce.
Good movie. It won the Academy Award
Oh, for what?
for best movie ever made.
Oh, it's Keen. It's pure Keen. No, it's greater than Keen. It's Cougat.
Why are you torturing me like this?
You're gonna love this, trust me.
I've lost all critical perspective.
Why?
Did you like that?
Are you kidding?
Let's all go to the movie.
Woo-hoo!
That's what I'm talking about.
What do we got?
Hold your ears, folks. It's showtime.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Kill Me or Thrill Me. I am your host, Ryan, and this is the podcast where I invite various people to recommend various movies to me that I've never seen before, and then once I watch the film, they come on the podcast and discuss it with me. And we find out, did their recommendation kill me or thrill me? Or in the case of today's movie, did it make me feel like a
Fucking weepy willow shit sack.
We'll find out. So, my guest today is a Grand Rapids-based writer, director, and producer. He is the co-owner of Full View Productions, and he teaches film at Grand Valley State University, my alma mater. And over the past 25 years, he has created all types of videos from commercial to feature films, and I can personally attest to the fact that he is one of the nicest guys in the business I have ever met and worked with. And he and I share the distinction of being two of the only people who actually paid cash money to see replicas starring Keanu Reeves in the theater.
That's right.
Chris Randall, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Yeah, how can we forget replicas? Actually, I'm trying to remember what it totally was about at this time.
It was about replicas, I think.
Right, yeah.
People were replicated.
Yeah. Was he bringing his daughter? Did his daughter die and he was trying to clone her or something like that?
Yeah.
Obviously, it was very memorable.
Yeah, very memorable film. And you and I were maybe in a crowd of 4 or 5 other people. And I did the math, and apparently that movie was a notorious bomb. And apparently approximately 440,000 people saw it in the theaters in Canada and the U.S., and we were 2 of them.
That seems like they want more than that for a movie that
Yeah.
that level. Yep.
Yeah, I would think so. But nonetheless, we're not here to talk about replicas because, we both already seen it, so what's the point? And nobody cares, apparently, because I don't think anybody even remembers it. You barely did,
I
think,
saw it,
until
and I barely remember it. Yeah.
Yeah. You brought an interesting movie today called Whiplash from 2014. But before we get into that, I would like you to introduce yourself to the listeners and tell them all what you do. I know what you do, but they might not. So the floor is yours.
Yeah, as you said, filmmaker and adjunct professor at Grand Valley State, which means I teach one class a semester, most semesters. Sometimes I don't even do that. But the filmmaking part is with my business partner, Keith Galinsky. We own Full View Productions together. We do commercial work. We do a lot of web video stuff for local businesses, sometimes more national companies. And that kind of pays the bills. And then once in a while, we get to just say, hey, let's just go make a movie.
Yeah.
And we make a short film, or, we made a feature. We get together with other people and maybe help them produce something, So we kind of do the work, and it's all interesting. Obviously, it's what we went to school for. I do love every opportunity we get to shoot something for anyone. Also, we do make a show for PBS that we've been doing I'm going into our 9th season now. So,
wow.
That kind of, so it's television, and yeah, commercial work, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And then at Grand Valley, when I teach, I usually teach an introduction to screenwriting class.
Okay.
And then sometimes I teach an editing class. It's kind of an introduction to editing. As an adjunct, you're just kind of teaching the introduction classes, and then you hand them off to the real professors like our mutual friend Joel Petrikis, who then takes them and teaches them how to really do it.
Well, okay. Yeah, I actually never knew what adjunct meant, so.
Yeah, it means they're bringing you in because you're a professional in the industry that you're teaching, but you're not a full-time professor. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I could do that.
Yeah,
because
you could.
I don't know. I mean, I know a little about screenwriting.
Right.
That's about all I know. I got some credits. But yeah, you guys have a feature film out. I don't know if you want to talk about it.
For America's Most Haunted?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can find that in surprising places. It's been out there for so long, and we do have a sales agent who has just kind of been pushing it in different places, and every once in a while we get a check for like a couple $100.
Nice.
But you can find it on YouTube right now, I think, on it's a free movie YouTube channel, but there's commercials that play. So that's the trade-off, I think it's on Tubi.
Okay.
Been in those places. So
yeah, America's Most Haunted. If you're looking for that, I've seen it several times. I'm quite a fan of it. I've actually pimped it out on a couple of other podcasts I've done.
I appreciate that.
It's a fun little horror comedy, I would say, about paranormal investigators who are kind of full of it, but then they stumble upon a house that is full of the real thing. And stars the late James Karen.
Yes.
And I'm in it too, somewhere. I'm a ghost.
You are. You get ghost bursted, not to spoil anything, but I believe you're one of the ghosts that gets ghost bursted.
I am. I'm ghost bursted, which is awesome. I've been shot on film. I've had a lot of things done to me on film, but ghost bursted is one of my favorites. So, Chris, thing I like to do before we get too much into the movie, or into the movie at all, is a little thing I call misty-eyed. And it's just a fun little bit where we can maybe get to know a little bit more about each other and the weird processes in our brain. And I kind of have a simple one for you today. Again, we're talking about the film Whiplash. We will get a little bit more into the plot in a minute, but I think people by now know it's about a somewhat abusive music professor, teacher.
Somewhat, yep.
Yeah, somewhat abusive, very loud man. Uh-huh. And I was wondering if you had a choice, because one of the themes of the movie is that abuse creates genius. Like, the more you abuse yourself or others, you can either become a genius yourself or inspire genius in others by treating them like absolute garbage. And so I was wondering if you had say you're walking down the street, right, just by yourself, having a fine old day here in West Michigan, and you're approached by a mystical being. Mm-hmm. It could be Jesus, it could be Gandalf, it could be Yoda. Your choice.
I'll take Gandalf.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And they say to you, Chris, I will make you the greatest filmmaker of all time. You will someday be on the Mount Rushmore of the greats. Mm-hmm. Your head carved in stone next to Spielberg, Hitchcock, John Ford, all of them.
Yeah, okay, it's tempting so far. Yep.
Right. But it comes at a cost.
Yeah.
In order to achieve this greatness, you have to have someone abuse you, both emotionally and physically, for an hour. Who do you pick? J.K. Simmons from Whiplash or R. Lee Ermey from Full Metal Jacket? Like, he will choke you, he will punch you in the stomach, he will berate you and your family.
Right.
For an hour.
I think J.K. Simmons, because it's less physical. Even though he might throw something at you, it won't physically hurt.
Well, he will slap you.
He will slap. You're right. Yeah, he does slap.
Yeah, he slaps.
But I still think he hurts less. I'm thinking more about the physical pain of this.
Right. Yeah, getting choked and punched in the stomach.
Right.
By a guy who was in real life an actual drill sergeant before he became an actor. Yeah. Right. I mean, I don't know. He's probably the scarier of the two.
Definitely. I think so. That's why I think I think that.
Yeah. Because J.K. Simmons is like a nice guy in real life. And R. Lee Ermey was probably like, we'll kick the shit out of you just to prove a point. Because, he was like Republican and mean.
Yeah, you never know what those guys are going to do, but
yeah,
yeah.
I don't trust him.
Yeah.
He passed away a long time ago, so all right, well, I guess we probably both would choose J.K. Simmons. So
okay, similar reasons, or did you have a different thought on why you would go with J.K.?
My thought was, yeah, I would just rather be slapped, and I mean, both of them are going to insult my family. Mm-hmm. Both of them will probably hurl racist, homophobic, whatever at me.
Yep.
But yeah, I just don't like getting punched in the stomach. I've had it done once by a friend who was just playing around. But I'd rather be. I've been slapped a lot.
Yeah.
Either mostly consensually, but we don't have to get into that. But I can take it. So if I was to become like the greatest writer in the world, I would go with J.K. Although I don't think I would have picked Gandalf.
No,
is what I'll probably differ with you.
Who would you pick?
Oh dear Lord.
Well, I picked from the choices you gave me. So
this is true. I only gave you like 3 choices, and those were just rattled off the top.
You know
of
what?
my head.
I would like one of the. I think they're called the Mystics from the Dark Crystal.
Oh, even better.
Big hunchback things. Yeah, that's one of my favorite. That kind of character. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No, you got me there. That wasn't even I didn't even give you a good choice then. Because I never ask I mean, I do, but I never think that far ahead with these questions about, well, what would I, yeah, no, okay.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of interesting. Neither of us picked Jesus.
Yeah.
Or Yoda. I mean, Yoda's cool.
I love Yoda.
Yeah, we all love Yoda. Or Grogu. Is it Grogu now? Is that what he's doing? Or is that his kid?
I think Grogu, that's a different character, though. That's
I don't know.
A Baby Yoda. It's just called Baby Yoda. I haven't watched all of that series either, but I'm pretty sure it's just another of that species.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I could be wrong too. Maybe I don't know. I haven't seen how that all comes out.
Never seen a single episode of it in my life. All right, well, let's get on to the movie you brought me. And I will, just on a side note, you have done this the smartest way so far, because most of the time people really struggle.
Because you've seen like 10,000 movies.
Over 8,000,
okay.
According to Letterboxd. I'll have you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they you actually went to my Letterboxd page and looked at the movies I haven't seen, which are all on a watch list. Anyway, you actually came at me with 5 movies I hadn't seen because you used my Letterboxd. So tip to every future guest: just check my Letterboxd, man. It's all there. But yeah, you picked Whiplash from 2014, written and directed by a young man named Damien Chazelle. So just a little bit about him. He made his feature film debut with a film called Guy and Madeline on a Park Bench in 2009, which I have not seen.
I have not seen.
In fact, I haven't seen any of his movies other than Whiplash. This is my first one. So Whiplash came out in 2014. It was based on he did a proof of concept short first, which I actually did watch, and that got him the financing to make the feature. And then 2 years later, his big hit La La Land, which he won the Best Directing Oscar for in 2016.
Yep, and then had that whole Best Picture mix-up with Moonlight, right?
Yeah.
I haven't seen La La Land.
I haven't either.
So.
Then in 2018 he did First Man, which I believe was about.
I have seen that.
Neil Armstrong.
Yes. Yep. Okay. That's actually the only other of his movies that I have seen.
Okay.
Yep.
That's the one I really want to see too. So I don't know why I haven't seen it yet, but
yeah, we have a mutual fascination with space and space travel and those kinds of things. Yep.
Yeah, you and I are definitely sci-fi nerds. And then in 2022, he wrote and directed Babylon, another film I haven't seen, a little controversial, I guess.
That's definitely on my watch list. I have wanted to check that one out.
Here's some things I didn't know. He's actually got a few writing and co-writing credits that I wasn't aware of, but he co-wrote The Last Exorcism Part 2.
Oh.
And he wrote Grand Piano, this thriller with Elijah Wood. where I want to see this movie because it's Elijah Wood is a concert pianist, but he's told ahead of time by a sniper that if he stops playing, he'll get shot.
That seems somewhat familiar. I feel like I've heard that premise, so maybe I saw a trailer or something at some point. Were these writing credits before or after Whiplash?
I actually didn't write the dates down for that. I suck. Sorry. And he also co-wrote 10 Cloverfield Lane, which I have seen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've seen that one.
It was okay. I wasn't as big a fan of that one as I was the actual original Cloverfield. But anyway, this film, Whiplash, was nominated for 5 Oscars, including Best Picture. And it won 3 for editing, sound mixing, and Best Supporting Actor, J.K. Simmons, the aforementioned abusive teacher. What are your opinions? Obviously, now we've concluded I've only seen 1 and you've only seen 2. What do you think of Damien Chazelle as a director and a writer, I guess?
Well, after I saw Whiplash, I mean, you probably know I love it. That's why I would put it on my recommend list, you know? So,
sure.
And after I saw that, I was excited to see anything that he did. And that I think First Man was next. So I went right out to the theater to see First Man. And I thought it was a good movie, but I just wasn't as blown away by it as I was with Whiplash.
Okay.
And then that kind of led to when La La Land came out, I was kind of like, I'll see it, you know, but then I just didn't. I don't know if musicals aren't always something that calls to me. I mean, I do love choreography, so I do want to watch it. I've watched the opening scene. I don't know if you've seen that.
No. It's
on this highway in LA, and there's this big dance number on the highway with all these cars stuck in traffic, and it's impressive. And I thought I do want to watch the rest of it. But so I haven't necessarily followed his career like I would, like something like Quentin Tarantino. I saw Reservoir Dogs and then Pulp Fiction. I was like, I got to see every movie right away in the theater when it comes out. He didn't become that. But I've heard some people that I value their opinion very much that Babylon is great. And so maybe that will reignite what I first felt when I watched Whiplash, you know?
Okay. Yeah, I've heard people compare it to Caligula, which is one of my favorite trashy films of all time. So I kind of have to see it at some point, based solely on that. Although I doubt it will, live up to Caligula standards in my book.
Probably hard.
Nothing can. No, I'm kidding. Moving on to the cast, we've got Mr. J.K. Simmons, as mentioned before. He plays Fletcher. I didn't know this, but he was born in our state. He was born in Grosse Pointe, Michigan in 1955. And apparently he's a huge Detroit Tigers fan.
I think I've heard that before. I think I've even seen him at games.
Oh, okay.
Potentially. So not that I was there, but I just on TV I saw, J.K. Simmons was there or something,
Yeah, I know you're a little bit more of a sports guy than me, but I definitely grew up loving the Tigers when I was a kid. And, I'm not one of those dickheads that gets on Facebook every time the rest of you are enjoying a major sporting event, just to tell you
I appreciate
I'm not watching it.
Right, I appreciate that. And I always, because I can see that coming sometimes, I try to preface it by saying, look, I know there's all kinds of things going on in the world right now, but Michigan just won the national championship, so I'm going to celebrate, Yeah. So I appreciate that, I feel like most people now just kind of that don't care, they just don't interact. That's fine.
Yeah. I don't get it. Why are you telling us something none of us care about?
Yeah.
Like, what do you want, a cookie for not watching something? I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, now Mr. Simmons has 2 Oscar nominations. Well, 1 win, 1 nomination, Whiplash, and then Being the Ricardos, which I have not seen, and I didn't remember him being nominated for that. But perhaps someday I'll see it. Numerous awards, Emmys, Golden Globes, SAGs, and apparently for this movie alone, Whiplash, he was nominated for approximately 60 to 70 awards, and he won 50 of those.
Wow. Yeah.
For this one movie.
Yeah.
So
it's quite a performance. So
yeah, his his bookshelf must just be laden with gold.
Yep.
He also did some, was that Foremost Insurance?
Mm-hmm.
He was the insurance man on...
Is he Farmers? I think it's Farmers.
Was it Farmers?
I again, watching sports, you see these commercials all the time.
Yeah.
It's the one time you have to watch commercials.
Right. Yeah. Well, because they're part of the event.
Right.
We are farmers. Okay. Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, farmers. And I think most people, I mean, he's been working for a long time as a character actor on TV and in movies, but I think most people noticed him first in Spider-Man as J. Jonah Jameson.
Yep.
What do you feel about J.K. Simmons? Are you a fan or?
I think he's great. I would love to work with him someday. I think he's a tremendous actor. I loved him in Spider-Man and I don't want to get into this too much, but I worked on the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes when I was in Los Angeles for a year, and they were shooting Spider-Man right next to us.
Oh, wow. Okay.
A lot of people that I loved walked past me, like Sam Raimi, Bruce Campbell. They towed the Evil Dead car past me, but J.K. Simmons walked past multiple times. So, I just like that I was in proximity of that, even though I wasn't on that set.
No, that's. I mean, I knew you had told me before you worked on that, but I didn't realize you'd seen this parade of people.
Yeah, I snuck onto that set multiple times. The Spider-Man
Did you really?
sets, yeah.
Okay.
Watched some of the filming of the cage match scenes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was
because that would have been the scene Bruce was in. So yeah, that's.
Yeah, I went in to watch him act.
Okay, I would have too. So, believe me,
I was really afraid I was going to get fired if I got caught, but thought it was
you
worth
didn't
it.
care.
Yeah.
No, that's good for you. More people need to have that kind of guts. All right. Well, the other there's a couple other name actors in this. Really, it's a two-man show. And the other actor is Miles Teller, who plays Andrew. He's the student, the up-and-coming drummer that really wants to make a name for himself. He debuted in 2010 in a movie called Rabbit Hole, which I have not seen. And apparently rose to fame in the Divergent films, which were those young adult sci-fi.
Yeah.
Never seen them.
I haven't either. I've seen a few of those types of films because my son is 18 now. He went through a phase of watching like Maze Runner and Hunger Games and stuff like that. But Divergent was not one of the ones that I feel like he even got into. So
he also was in Fantastic Four. I think the bad one or the good one or the.
I haven't seen the one that I heard is the good one. I've only seen bad ones, and I don't remember him.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. I think I first noticed him in Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
Because he plays Goose's son, right?
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken. And I was amazed at how much he looked like he would have been Goose's son.
Right.
Like, I was like, that's brilliant casting.
Well, and his change from Whiplash to that, just the way he just got built, he's all muscles and looks like an action hero.
Right.
He does not look like an action hero in Whiplash.
No, not at all. Which I hadn't seen it ahead of time, so I wouldn't have known. Like, going back after seeing him in Top Gun Maverick and then now going back to Whiplash, I was like, oh, wow. He looks like a little kid.
Yep.
Like, he's just... and then I did see him in a sort of okay movie called The Gorge. Him and Anna Taylor-Joy.
Yep.
Did you see that one?
No, but I know what one you're talking about. Was that like a Netflix movie or something?
I think it was Apple.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe. Sort of interesting sci-fi movie. Him and Anna Taylor-Joy are these soldiers on opposite sides of a canyon or a gorge,
or the gorge,
I guess.
Yeah.
And they have to protect it. And they don't know what from, other than every once in a while these weird creatures scurry up the side and they have to blast them. And they're not supposed to talk, but they end up flirting around with mirrors and, signal flares and stuff, and then end up meeting each other and talking, and then
So they cross the gorge somehow.
Eventually, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of a rom-com, only with weird Lovecrafting monsters and laser machine guns.
Jeez, I should watch it. That's a great...
Yeah.
That makes me want to see it.
Yeah, it's not a great film, but it's entertaining. I didn't mind it. But yeah, you might... check it out. Sigourney Weaver's in it.
Oh, yeah.
And he's also in, for our Swifties out there, he did a video with Ms. Swift for her song I Bet You Think About Me, which I feel like that's the title of all her songs.
Yeah, it's at least the theme of most of her songs.
Yeah, most of her records.
Yep. Nothing against Taylor Swift, though. My daughter absolutely loves Taylor Swift. I got a lot of Swift going on in this house often.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, as do I, because my roommate, Hojo, is a big Swiftie as well. In fact, I've got a couple Swiftie bracelets.
Oh, nice.
Sitting around here somewhere. Nothing against her. She's a very talented woman, and I don't happen to like her music, but that's neither here nor there. My favorite award for Miles Teller, sometimes I just find these ones and I just feel the need to share them. But in 2013, Miles Teller was nominated by the Alliance of Women Film Journalists for Best Depiction of Nudity, Sexuality, or Seduction for the film The Spectacular Now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's maybe his best award.
I wouldn't have gotten that one for a couple of the movies I made.
Right.
Maybe. I don't know. Some people call them feminist. Anyway, good for you, Miles. I don't have nearly that cool of credit. Now, last but not least, I want to mention Andrew's dad is played by Paul Reiser.
So it was so nice to seeing him show up.
Yeah.
You feel good.
I think most people probably know him from My Two Dads and Mad About You, which were both big TV hits. Although I think you and I can attest to that sci-fi fans of a certain generation know him as the asshole businessman in Aliens.
One of the little sleaziest guys you just can't wait to see die.
Yeah. One of the worst on-screen bastards of all time.
Yep.
God bless him for it, but yeah, I every time I see him in a movie, I'm like, oh, you motherfucker.
He's like the opposite in Whiplash.
Yeah, like you expect him to sell his son out for the corporation and sick an android on him. But, all right, well, there we go. That's pretty much the cast and crew of note. Although, of course, everybody who worked on this movie deserves note. I just don't have them all written down. And if you want to know, go to IMDb. Chris, do you want to briefly explain the plot of this movie? I'm sure we can't really talk about this movie without getting into some spoilers. But, so down the line, people, if you haven't seen it, you may want to go watch the movie and then come back. But just off the top, do you want to kind of explain the plot of this movie and then tell me, Ryan, why you, Chris, recommended this movie to me?
All right. Well, the story is about a kid, I think Andrew Neiman, right? That's his last name is Neiman.
I believe so, yeah.
And he is going to a prestigious music school. It's apparently one of the top music schools in the country. And he wants to be a jazz drummer, and he wants to be one of the great jazz drummers. And he gets this opportunity to play in J.K. Simmons, or his name's Fletcher, is the character name, in his band at the school. Fletcher's an instructor at the school, and apparently the best instructor. And when he gets this opportunity, he's originally excited about it, but it starts to really become a nightmare kind of relationship between him and Fletcher, because Fletcher has very as we discussed, it's he's like the drill sergeant in Full Metal Jacket. That's kind of his approach to trying to coax greatness out of his students, and he takes a special interest in coaxing greatness out of Andrew in ways that are obviously over the top and beyond what should be acceptable. And that's kind of how the story goes, is how that relationship goes.
Yeah.
And I recommended this because I didn't see it in the theater. I didn't watch it until, after it had been nominated, or, it was kind of, I was sitting at home, and a movie about a jazz drummer wasn't jumping out at me at any point. But I've gotten into this thing. So this must have been over 10 years ago. I started getting into this thing where I don't stop and I don't look for movies for a long time and think about what I want to watch. I'll just be like, this one tonight. And I just hit it without spending a lot of time on it.
Yeah.
And I come across things. I'm like, I'm great. That was great. I'm glad I watched it. If I would have thought about it, I probably wouldn't have picked it. And that was this movie. Right. And I sat and I watched it, and it just, like I said, it blew me away. A lot of it was the filmmaking style. I felt a lot of kind of Scorsese influence in the style of it, and the camera movement. There's just the kinetic energy of the movie. I loved all of that. And then just I think that so yeah, if people haven't watched this, I definitely do want to talk about the ending, because it's one of those movies where once every few months I'll just look up that last scene on YouTube and just watch it. Wow. I just think it's such a great climactic scene of a movie, and the way that it turns like twice in that scene goes up and that's one of the things that I love about the whole movie. And I use that short film when I teach that screenwriting class. Okay. We watch the short film because it's so it shows that idea so well, where the short film is made up of 3 separate scenes, and it's in the movie too. It was recreated in the feature. But the first part, it starts with Andrew, and he's just getting into that class, and he's hopeful, and he's really, really kind of excited about the opportunity, but nervous. And he ends that first scene just feeling terrified of what he's going through. And then he goes into the hallway and he starts terrified. And then Fletcher comes out and builds him up and makes him feel good about himself, and like, hey, you're here for a reason, man, and like, have fun. And so he goes back into the room built up, and and then he gets into the room, and then Fletcher just destroys him. And that's the end of the short. And I love using that for the screenwriting classes, be like, this is what every scene should do. You start some character here, and you end them at, if you can, the opposite emotion that they started the scene at, And so that's, for all those reasons and a lot more. I mean, the acting, I think, is phenomenal. And I think it's just very well written, very well made. That's why. Yeah, okay. I thought it was because you thought I was just, a loser at life, and you were hoping to, inspire me to do great. Write faster. Damn it, I try. No, the ending is very much, when I was watching it, I was, because my roommate was kind of in and out of the room watching parts of it with me. Even what little he saw of it was giving him an anxiety attack. So I'm a really big fan of what I call anxiety attack movies. Like, I love nothing more than just like being put on edge, because I have anxiety. I take medication for it. So whenever I see it being, done on film, like one of my favorites of this, it's not a real subgenre, it's just one I've made up, or I probably didn't, somebody else did, but like Punch Drunk Love does the same thing to me. Oh yeah, I love that. I love those types of movies too. I know exactly what you're talking about. The Safdie brothers, their type of movies, like Good Time and Uncut Gems and that kind of stuff. I love that. I love just feeling anxious for an entire runtime of a movie. Like I haven't even seen Uncut Gems yet, but I don't know why. I just haven't. But I've been told, like, oh my God, that just from start to finish, you're just like, ugh. Sandler again, doing that type of thing again. I mean, Punch Drunk Love and then Uncut Gems. He's really good at making you feel anxious. Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, I think even during his comedy, you can kind of see he has it in him. It's that slow building anger that most of the time he just plays for laughs, but then when he channels it into something darkly comic or criminal, it just works. That is one aspect of this I actually love. But yeah, I definitely have a lot to say about the ending, because I'm going to tell you, Chris, I'm not going to lie to you. This movie troubled me. Yeah. Out of all the movies I've had to discuss so far, and I'm thankful for that. I love nothing more than something that really makes me
really reached into my own mind in terms of ethics, morality, art versus life, the creation of art. I mean, I, as a young man, was definitely one of those people that thought sacrifices were absolutely essential to allowing the world to have great art, that artists could get away with abusing people, and that's fine because look what we got from it. I was that guy at one point in my life. I'm not going to lie. It's a shame that he murdered that person, but, cool movie, bro. That kind of guy. I'm not really like that anymore. I'm also at the same time not one that just goes back and judges history all the time. Like I'm not still like whining about how terrible John Ford or Alfred Hitchcock were as a person. Like we know they're dead. There's nothing I can do about it.
I talk about this with students often too, because I'm recommending or having them watch or think about movies that have some problematic elements to it. And I think that you and I, when we were in film school, it was a point in time, it was in the 90s, and it was a point in time where it was known that horrible things were happening.
Yeah.
I remember when I was going to move to Los Angeles for that year, my mom and other people were so worried about me going out there because they were like, you're putting yourself right into the lion's den, and I was like, yeah, I am. I know what's out there. I'm just going to try to avoid it or do what I can to keep myself, sane or safe or whatever it is. But it was almost like, yeah, we know that's under the undercurrent of a lot of this, but we're, man, the art, the movies are great.
like you're saying. Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's and I think that's what's interesting now is seeing it at this point in my life where I'm definitely not that person anymore. And and a lot has happened socially since that time. I mean, I know it's become a cliche to say, well, it was just a different time, but I'm telling you, in the 90s, before the internet and all that, I mean, we had the internet, but it wasn't what it is now. It was a different time. Like the cultural vocabulary was different. Like we didn't really know how to talk about these things. We didn't really even understand what constituted abuse or this and that. Like we just didn't really talk about it. And I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm saying that's just what it was. And now obviously we're in an age when this stuff is all coming to light, or it comes to light on a more frequent basis, and we have a vocabulary for it now. We have people fighting back. A lot of us that are in our middle age are reckoning with that, and I think the best of us try to adapt, or not adapt, but evolve in our own thinking. And especially in your case, you've started a family, you have children, so I'm sure even I don't have that, but I'm sure you even have looked back at things from back then and be like, oh God.
Oh yeah, for sure. you do a lot of that as your kids get older. You think, I hope that they don't go down some of the roads, or even have some of the thought processes that I had at certain points in my life. So
oh God, yeah.
just working to raise kids that are decent human beings, I think is the goal. So
right. And I think that's how it's supposed to be. We are supposed to evolve. We're supposed to learn from the past and strive to be good. And obviously those who do heinous things should pay for them or be brought to justice. But for the rest of us, it's like, well, just let's get better. Let's evolve. Rather than get stuck in the quagmire of that type of toxicity, let's do our part to get rid of it. But that's what I find fascinating about this film, is that it even above and beyond what the movie's about, it does inspire that kind of discussion, especially online.
I wrote a lot of discussion about this movie, and I even gotten involved in some of it on like Reddit about this movie.
Well, that's something I kind of want to get to towards the end, as we talk more about it. Were you a music kid growing up? Did you play in band?
I played in band through the beginning of 9th grade.
Okay.
And then it was a point where I played soccer as well, and I loved soccer, and the band instructor made me make a choice because marching band season was the same time as soccer season. He's like, well, you can't do both. And I was like, well, then I'm not going to do band,
Okay.
So that was it. I was willing to work around it. He was not. So maybe he's, I don't know, a little Fletcher-like as a high school band teacher, maybe.
Yeah.
But not nearly that extent. But yeah, I love music. So, having done band only for those 3 years, but also every 4 or 5 years or so, I pick up a guitar and convince myself I'm going to learn how to play it, and do that for a few months and then stop and do that again 4 years later. So I understand, I can look at music sheets and understand what it's saying. I can't necessarily hear the music in my head like real, musicians who do it all the time can do, but I understand the process, I guess.
It was kind of a two-part question, because I was going to say, I assumed you were probably a sports kid too. And, I was just curious if you had any experiences with teachers like this. I think what you just told me was obviously not on the same.
More so, and it never again got to this level, but sports, like I played basketball too, and basketball coaches that I had would be more, I think, comparable to what Fletcher was than my band teacher was. So actually when I watch this movie, that's what I kind of thought. I was like, well, and I know in sports, especially in college sports, a lot of stuff has come out. There are some horrible stories of what coaches do to players, try to do what Fletcher's trying to do in the movie, which is coax greatness out of their players. And all of that kind of stuff, like you're saying, is starting to come to light, and coaches are starting to, get fired from schools and stuff. And so I don't know if we'll talk about this, but I know that a lot of that conversation is this realistic that there's really a music teacher like this out there? And I don't know. I think it's a movie, so there are these characters. The school doesn't even really exist. The Schaefer Conservatory, whatever, was made up, but the movie's more, showing this idea of using this method to try to reach greatness, to become a great artist. And I can understand that from a perspective of a sports coach of football or soccer or something, trying to coax the same kind of thing out of a player.
Yeah, there is. We can talk about it. There's a lot of discourse about that online. And this is a 13-year-old movie at this point, maybe 12-year-old movie. I don't know, but so obviously this isn't the first time any two people have sat down and talked about it. But if anybody wants to, just type it into YouTube, and there's a plethora of piñata videos, and there's jazz students, there's teachers, there's music critics.
Yeah, the musicians that are critiquing this, oftentimes when it gets to the end, like I just watched another one yesterday just to kind of prepare, because I know that these are all over the place, and it was a jazz drummer, watching it, and he's like, oh, you wouldn't hold a drumstick that way, and like really getting into the minutia of the way Miles Teller, who's an actor who isn't a drummer, in the end of these things, even though they're picking these details apart, usually at the end they come out of it saying, well, it's not very realistic, but it's a good movie,
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's the point, I think, so.
Oh, for sure. And one of the videos I watched, the guy said, I realized that me sitting here as a jazz musician critiquing this is like watching Interstellar with Neil deGrasse Tyson. Yep. Like, he's going to lean over through the whole movie and tell you. But at the end of the day, Interstellar's still a great movie, and it's fun. So I don't know anything about black holes.
Right.
I just trust that the world of the movie is telling me all I need to know. And same with this. Like, I wouldn't know the first thing about a quarter note versus a whatever note. Mm-hmm. Although I did grow up I played in band. I was a trumpeter for 2 years. I sucked.
Trumpet's what I played too.
Yeah, yep. I sucked. I was like, if I wasn't last chair, I was last chair. Like, they made another chair after last chair for me because I just sucked. And the only reason I did it is my best friend growing up was a musician, and he was a musician with a capital M. Child prodigy, I would say. Like, he was, like, even in third grade, he was about as good as Andrew is in this movie.
Yeah.
Had he chose to do anything with that in his life, I think he could have had a career. He did not. But he was the kid that introduced me to Rush, of course, because the drumming, Neil Peart, and I still remember sitting in his living room and he's like, you just got to hear this drum solo from YYZ. And I'm like, what? Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I was into The Cure and Depeche Mode, and all of a sudden he's playing this Rush live album, and I'm like, I don't even know if I get this, but I kind of love it. And it just blew my mind. So I've been a Rush fan ever since, thanks to this guy. But I think the other thing it instilled in me is I've just always had an obsession with drummers. Just when I listen to music that's not electronic or, you know, hip-hop. I mean, hip-hop's got beats. Some of that trip-hop stuff has beats. I'm talking about percussion in, like, bands like, you know, The Cure or whatever. One of my favorite bands favorite drummers is Stuart Copeland from The Police. Like, I just love listening to their songs just to listen to his drumming. Dave Lovering from the Pixies.
Yeah.
Like, I've just always loved drumming, and I think he instilled that in me, or inspired that in me, because I would go over to his house and he would spend an hour just drumming in front of me all over. He had this huge kit, just, yeah. So watching this movie kind of brought me back to that, like, because his dad was a music teacher. He taught music in our school, and his whole family was, every kid in that family, guitar, piano, whatever. So that kind of reminded me of that and the intensity I used to see on his face. Now, his dad was never downstairs screaming at him and
No.
tell him and he fuck him like a pig if he screwed up anything. He wasn't like that, although he was a very loud man. He scared me to death when he yelled at his kids, even though we probably deserved it because we were little jerks when we were kids. But I guess that's just my way of saying that that's kind of was what really fascinated me throughout this movie, was just the intensity of that, of people. It's one of those things I've always really respected in other artists, is people who really know their craft and really commit their lives to that craft. I feel like I have a craft. I feel like I've done my best to learn it. I've done my best to commit to it. I'm sure you feel the same way about yours, but I don't know that I've ever had that much drive in me to put up with that.
Right.
Would you?
No, I don't think. I think I would say, no, this is not for me. I guess I don't want to be that great.
Yeah,
I'll be okay with being good.
Yeah.
Like Fletcher says later, there's no two worse words in the English language than good job or something like that.
Yeah.
But I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll settle for... Yeah, I was sitting there watching it and I'm just like, no, nope. Yeah. I'm out of this route. Like, I've had bosses talk to me like that at, like, McDonald's jobs, and I'd be like, I'm walking out of here, man.
Yeah.
This $4 an hour back in the 90s, that's not worth it. I'm not listening to you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no way. Now, so as I mentioned earlier, you're a parent, like, because there's a point in this movie where Andrew is so determined to not let somebody else play his part at a competition. And he forgot his sticks at the taxi or the car rental place, drives back, grabs his sticks, and is driving back to the auditorium to play. He's hit by a truck, climbs out of the wreckage, bloodied and broken, and still gets up on stage to play. And then word of that comes out, and a lawyer, I believe, or Fletcher or Andrew's dad hires a lawyer. They're going to go after Fletcher at this point because it's also revealed that a former student of his has killed himself. So they want to go after this guy.
Which is a great something that is planted earlier when Fletcher comes in and he's like the one moment he shows some humanity when he's sad and kind of cries in front of the students, says, I just found out that one of my great students died. Later you find out, no, that student killed himself because of you.
Yeah, because he paints it as, oh, the kid got in a car accident, and yeah, it's kind of it's a real good moment in the movie, I thought. So I guess this isn't really a question, and I guess it is a good question because, movies make us think about what we do in our own lives. But as a parent, would you be absolutely appalled if you found out one of your kids was being subjected to this on a daily basis by a teacher or coach?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I would probably. I feel like Paul Reiser's character is a great dad. He's supportive. He tries to be as supportive as he can, but when he sees it's gone too far, he's like, I got to step in and help you.
Yeah.
I've been trying to let you do it on your own, but this has gone too far.
Do you think you'd have to stop your wife from getting a machine gun or a club?
I think she would leave that to me.
Oh, you'd be the one.
She would want me to go get the machine gun or the club and take care of it.
Okay.
It's another interesting aspect of teaching, the students in the script writing class, of course, when I'm going to show this short, because the short has all that language in it too. And I start the whole class, like the first day, talking about how if you're going to write real people or just, great characters, there are really bad people who say things that you as a person would find totally offensive or do things that you would find horrible. But
yeah,
you have to be able to write that, if otherwise everyone's just going to be nice to each other, or if you have to at least be able to accept that as a writer.
Yeah.
And so by the time we get to watching Whiplash, it's all a build up to that, watching that short. I'm like, okay, remember when I was telling you all I know that there are horrible people in the world, and you know it, and I'm not showing this because I condone what is said or done in this. I'm showing you this because I think it's a great short, and it really shows a really great aspect of screenwriting. So
yeah, I definitely would agree. And in the case of this, there's a lot of racist language in what he says. There's a lot of sexist language, definitely a lot of homophobic language coming out of his mouth. And I'm sure it was even shocking then. I mean, it's always shocking to hear that stuff, unless you're a complete dick.
Well, I think that was the point, and I think it's the point of the character too. I get the idea that he's saying it to get to Andrew or to get to a student. He's trying to do whatever he can do to get under their skin. So it's not like he believes it, in a way.
Right.
You know what I think? If I throw these, homophobic or racist insults at this student, it'll get to him. And that's why he uses it. He just uses it as a weapon.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I didn't ever think there was any intention behind any of it, because he seemed to be I know what his intention was. I guess what I meant was I didn't think there was any sincerity behind it, other than this is a word I know will make you mad at me.
Yep.
And I mean, I know people like that in my real life that.
Yeah, these horrible. I mean, there are people who say this stuff and really believe it too. I mean, these people exist. This stuff is said all the time.
Yeah.
And I don't think that shying away from it in a movie helps anyone.
No.
You can't start to pretend that there aren't people like this saying things like this,
Yeah. Movies aren't going to it isn't going to fix everything if all your characters talk like a Hallmark movie.
Right.
That's not going to fix the problems of the world. In fact, it's going to, I would say, blanket you so much that by the time you get out in the real world, when you hear people like that, you're going to be like,
yeah,
I wasn't prepared for this. Listening to NWA as a teenager prepared me for the real world,
And that's something that I've noticed more these days, especially being around younger kids, or my son's 18, so I'm around kids his age, or I coach soccer, and I've noticed that they are even more comfortable throwing swear words out there, or swearing in front of adults, or just you're in public and there's a couple of kids in the next aisle at Meijer or something, and they're just going to town. I don't think it bothers the younger generations even as much as it bothered us, which it might not have much, but I think it's even less now.
Again, even as a teenager, yes, me and my friends had potty mouths. We swore all the time. We would lower our voices if there were other people around.
Yeah.
I would actually get mad at my friends if they swore too loud in public. Like, dude,
right?
Like, there's kids sitting over there. Even though I'm saying the nastiest stuff, but it's like you knew to contain it or keep it to yourself.
Or especially if when you're around certain people, like your parents or your,
Yeah.
like, or your parents and their friends, you're just like, okay, this is a spot where I don't do that. There's not that much hesitation, I don't feel like, anymore.
Yeah. It makes it less special.
Right.
Quentin Tarantino movies are less special now because everybody talks like that in public and out loud.
That one time or two times that they can actually say fuck in a PG-13 movie, I forget what it is, before it turns to R.
I think it was 3 times as long as they weren't a sex reference.
Okay, yeah. Now those are like, those used to be like, oh yeah, you used it there. That was a great moment,
Yeah.
Now it's like, yeah, whatever.
Like in Adventures in Babysitting, I always remember that. She says it once.
Yep.
And you were like, yeah! And it's like PG-13. Yep. Now it's just like G-rated movies. They talk like that. We sound like 2 old men shaking our fists at the clouds.
Exactly.
And
I miss the days when the F word meant something.
I know! That's what I'm always saying. I'm like, remember when that used to be cool?
Right.
But now it's just like, now I sound lame saying it. Sort of. J.K. Simmons certainly doesn't sound lame saying it. He sounds terrifying.
Right.
Yeah, so now, thematically, I've got some more stuff I'd like to cover, and you were talking earlier just about the sort of the technical side of this that you really responded to seeing it. As a filmmaker, myself, that definitely has a draw for me. Like I'm very much I very much watch movies with an eye for editing, an eye for sound composition. Over the last, I'd say 10 or 15 years, I've really, really gotten into sound composition. Like, not myself, but just listening for it. Like, I have a friend that works in the business that is a composer, and him and I are always talking about how, people don't sometimes place a lot of importance on just how they don't place a lot of importance on how important audio is to a film, like as far as how it's mixed, how it's edited.
It's sometimes people say it's half the movie.
Oh yeah,
especially starting filmmakers, just kind of like, yeah, well, record it. We'll get to it later. We'll take care of it later. It definitely it can be. I think sometimes too, it's what people don't realize. They're like, I don't know why, but this movie just doesn't feel professional to me.
Yeah.
And it's often the sound.
I would agree.
And so yeah, it's a big part of the movie. And yeah, Whiplash has an amazing sound design, and I mean it's music, so that Damien Chazelle was like, this has to be great. So
well, that's kind of what I was building to ask you about, because he, this movie is, about music, and it's edited almost like a music video at times. And then he did go on to make a full-on musical. His first feature film, from what I could tell, was about music. And then some say Babylon has the term I hear is that a film like Whiplash, especially, is a musical without the musical numbers.
I can see that.
What do you think of that idea?
I do appreciate it that way. I always say, like, my favorite musical is The Blues Brothers.
Right. Yeah.
And it's different than a musical because the musical numbers in that are the Blues Brothers are actually performing the music, or John Lee Hooker's actually performing the music. And so I guess if I lean toward a musical, that's the way I would go. I like it to be about musicians.
Yeah.
And then as far as the style of the filmmaking, like I said, it's this kinetic energy and the way that it's edited, the way that it's shot. The times I feel Scorsese is when it's just like those camera movements that push in real fast toward the drums or those kinds of things, and the edit seems to go with the rhythm of not only the movie, but the music that's being played in the moment. It feels right.
Yeah.
And I'm fascinated by things like that, where I'm like, the number of shots that he must have gotten of him playing the drums to cut. Every time he cuts to the drumstick hitting the drum, it seems like it's a different angle.
Yeah.
There must have been 1,000 shots of the drumstick hitting the drums just for that one scene where he's practicing alone, and then they have to do it again, and it.
Yeah.
And that it's kind of that reminds me of someone like Robert Rodriguez or something. We're watching an action sequence he's putting together, and it's like the number of shots he had to get for this action sequence it's exhausting to think about trying to shoot all of that, to me. But yeah, that all just I think that's what stood out when I first watch any movie. I try to remove myself as a filmmaker and just really take in the story. But Whiplash was one of those movies where I was feeling the filmmaking and loving it as I was watching it the first time, still taking in the story.
Yeah, same here. Because I have that problem too. My biggest problem is always I tend to like really, really hyper focus on the script, almost to the detriment of me enjoying the movie sometimes. Like, I'll be like, oh, that line sucked. Like, who wrote that? Like, no, that's not how you plot a scene. That's not how you cut to a punchline. Like, and people watching the movie with me will be like, shut up, Ryan. Just watch the movie and then talk about that stuff later. And I'm trying to get better at it, but there are times when a movie will just suck you in and you're not only, like you just said, not only paying attention to the story, but the filmmaking itself is just becomes part of the story telling, that it all becomes one, and it's easy to watch it with like one eye as a filmmaker and one eye as a viewer, and there is no disconnect. And I feel that on a lot of musicals. I think that's why I like them. One of my favorite movies that a lot of people love and a lot of people can't stand is Moulin Rouge, but that is one of those movies that I can watch both as a filmmaker and a viewer, and I'm just in love with every second of it. Like, storytelling, all of it just amasses into this one, and yeah, it helps to watch it high, but it just becomes this one blob of like sensory input that I think Chazelle comes pretty close to it, not through this whole movie, but definitely through the music scenes. You know
what? Another movie, just thinking about this, where I was noticing the filmmaking on the first time and the story it was all working for me, that I just watched recently, was In the Mood for Love. Have you seen that?
Oh, no, I have not.
Another one where I just was like, I'll never want to watch this movie. I'm just going to watch it.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's amazing. And the filmmaking is beautiful. And I was noticing it the whole time, as I was also just like, the story's incredible. It all sucked me in. But there are few movies that do that on first viewing for me, Okay, so Ryan.
Yes.
Did I kill you or thrill you with this movie?
I don't know how to answer that question. This is the first time I don't know how to answer that question. I will say, on the one side, it absolutely thrilled me watching this from just a story and filmmaking point of view. This is an incredibly made movie. Like, this is only his second feature, and that's incredible to me because this is so competently made. Even as someone who went into this knowing it's not a musical, for some reason it felt like a musical to me, especially when it got to where they were performing, just the energy of it. And I'm not even a jazz person, but Whiplash had me bopping my head. Like, I'm like, this has got a groove. I love this. I mean, I like some jazz, but I'm definitely not a jazz aficionado, but I kind of like when, hip-hop artists will sample jazz beats, and, there are bands out there that have a jazzier rhythm section that I kind of groove on. And like I said, I really am into drumming, and there were parts of this where I was like, man, this is a dope jam. Like, I'm wanting to go on Spotify and add this to my playlist. And I love watching live music. Like, I love going to concerts. I love watching symphonies play. And I know that Chazelle cast mostly professional musicians to play the other students, from what I heard anyway. And so just knowing that these people were really playing this and just watching them, you know, sliding the trombone and the spit coming out of the trumpets and all that, and it was amazing. Like, I was just enraptured by this movie. Like, I totally got why this was nominated for so many things, like why this blew people away at the time. Like, how old was he when he directed this? Like, it's just,
right.
Wow. You know, I don't even think he's in his 40s yet, which pisses me off. Good job on you, Damien. And even when I watched the short, it's obviously a lot, it's cheaper looking. The sets aren't as, you know, I don't know what you want to call it. They aren't as...
it almost looks like more like a real band room.
Yeah.
You know, the feature is it's got that moody...
polished, Ivy League looking... Yeah. So, but even in that, there was an energy to it. And there were just, you know, there'd be little cutaway shots of Fletcher just like smiling and bopping his head and listening. And you're like, is he enjoying this, or is he just letting them enjoy the moment before he turns around and snaps? And the acting, obviously, incredible. J.K. Simmons deserved every award for this. He, I'm sure by now, has gone down as one of the great screen villains. Although, you know, maybe some don't see him as a villain, but we'll get to that. Miles Teller really holds his own. He's great. In the movies I'd seen him in were more what I would call popcorn movies. Top Gun and The Gorge, those were more about entertainment. Whiplash is more of a, I don't want to call it art film because I hate that term, but it's a drama. You know, it's a psychological drama. So it was, I think the acting in that comes out a little bit more.
Well, and the work that he had to do to convince you and anyone that he was a high level competent drummer.
Yeah,
you know,
it's insane.
I don't think that Miles Teller was you know, I don't know. He might have.
Yeah, I didn't see anything in my research that he did. Maybe he did. And if we're wrong, sorry, everybody. Let us know in the comments. But, yeah, it was, and I always loved that in these musical, well, I almost called this a musical biopic, which it's not. But, you know, like in Shine, when Jeffrey Rush taught himself how to do all that Rachmaninoff on a piano, like, how the hell do you just decide you're going to learn that for a movie? Like, right. And then there's the actors that play their own guitars, or that learn the parts. It's just, I guess I'm just jealous because I've always wanted to be a musician. Like, you know, like you were talking earlier, I've taken guitar lessons, gave it up after one because I'm like, I don't get it. I wish I could drum. I annoy people because I'm always doing it with magic markers or ink pens. So yeah, so in that aspect, I loved this. I thought it was great. Like I hate it. I didn't really like anybody in it other than maybe Paul Reiser. I could relate to Andrew to a certain extent of being that young kid. And I remember how ambitious I was at 19. Obviously, I was going into a field that, you know, I had to do more learning and watching movies and studying things than I did practicing anything.
Right. It wasn't the physical rigor that, you know, this type of thing. Yeah, right.
Stephen King wasn't leaning over me and, you know, sharpen that pencil better, damn it. You know, it wasn't. My writing teachers were all very kind, perhaps too kind. I liked the moments with Paul Reiser when they're mixing Raisinets with popcorn, which is disgusting to me, but whatever, to each their own. Because I love popcorn, I love Raisinets, but I don't know, maybe it would be good. I don't know.
Andrew's character even says, like, I don't like it, I eat around them.
Yeah.
Paul Reiser's like, what? I've been doing this forever, you know, or something.
Yeah. Because, like, I took my nephew to the movie. I've taken him to a couple movies, like, to see Jaws when they did the 50th anniversary because he'd never seen it. And he gets, like, a slushie and then dumps Sour Patch Kids in it. I'm like, Jesus.
Oh, wow.
Like, well, you could get away with that when you're 12. That would kill me if I did that now. But... yeah, I liked the bits with when he meets the young woman. I liked their initial little when he asks her out, because that's about as awkward and slick as I am when I asked a girl out back then.
Right.
So yeah, all that stuff was great. Like, honestly, even the ending, that was adrenaline overload. Like, I was into that concert. Like, just when he's like, I'll cue you. And he's just doing this epic Neil Peart 3-hour Rush drum solo that's just insane, that I love it. See, that's what I mean. I just love drumming. So anyway, all that leads to my other side of the coin of why I find it difficult to answer this question, because I don't know what this movie's trying to tell me, man. Like, I don't know what the message be, and this is what bothers me about it. And again, I don't mean this in a bad way. It's just, I don't know that I can get behind this movie, and that's kind of why I've been really looking forward to talking to you about this specifically. What's his name? Fletcher often talks to Andrew about this, what I guess is kind of a apocryphal anecdote about the jazz musician Charlie Parker, that at one point Charlie Parker screwed up while playing a show, and another musician threw a cymbal at him and told him to go home and practice. And because of that, Charlie Parker became legendary. Apparently this story is not true. It's true to a certain extent, but, you know, again, print the legend. Why not? So basically what Fletcher says at one point is, you know, I wasn't there to teach. When I was teaching at that school, because he does get let go, and he's like, I wasn't there to, like, conduct. Anybody can wave a baton and conduct people. He's like, and he says, I was there to push people beyond what's expected of them, and I believe that's an absolute necessity. So, to me, it was like, what I want to ask you then is, do you think the movie exonerates him in a way that implies that abuse is necessary for greatness to be achieved? Like, do you feel like this movie is explicitly saying that, or are we supposed to... Because the ending is so, like... Because he basically tells Andrew to come play with him at the show. And he says, we're just going to do some standards. You already know the set list. Don't worry about it. You'll be great. Andrew shows up, and right away, Fletcher's like, we're doing a song you've never heard of, fucker.
Yeah, I'm going to ruin you.
Yeah, I'm going to ruin you, because I know it was you that got me fired. And you're like, oh, shit. And so, lo and behold, Andrew burns out and can't keep up. And he walks off stage, his dad's there, and then all of a sudden he turns around, he's like, no, I got this. Storms back on stage, has his 8 Mile moment, and then him and Fletcher start making eye contact through the whole thing. And at one point, Fletcher's pissed, and then he's like, I got you. And by the end, they're in love with each other, basically, because Fletcher has proven his point, and Andrew has gone over to the dark side. At least that's my gut feeling about it. I'm not saying that's correct, so I want to get your opinion on it. Do you think this movie is glorifying obsession and abuse as a good thing in order to achieve greatness?
I think the whole fact that people are asking this question and talking about this is the point.
Okay.
At the end, when the last thing is them smiling at each other.
Yeah.
We got there. And I don't think it's a happy ending.
No.
You know, I think it's like, no matter what this was, it worked.
Yeah.
You know, but it's not saying this should be the way you go about it. You know, this is horror almost. Like,
yeah.
And so the ending is like, it's this feeling of, I mean, that last scene is so great because it goes back and forth. Fletcher is destroying him, and then Andrew comes back out, and there's that moment when Fletcher's walking up. He's like, what are you doing, man? And he like hits the cymbal at him.
Oh, he whacks his face with it. Yeah.
And then Fletcher starts to realize, oh man, this is that moment. You know, he's playing like I wanted him to play.
Yeah.
And then Andrew realizes I'm doing it, and you know, and it's like you can almost see his dad behind I think they show Paul Reiser just be like in disbelief of what he's seeing.
Yeah.
And you can imagine the kind of conversation that he's going to have with Andrew after that's like, you're not friends with this guy, are you?
Yeah.
Like, this isn't okay, right? You know, like and I think that was the point. Like, what is greatness worth? What is this kind of like achieving some level like this is worth? Is this even the right way to go about it? Obviously, people achieve greatness without doing that to themselves, or you know, having somebody do that to them. But again, when I was earlier, you know, the analogies of sports and coaches of athletes and stuff, I think that it is really done that way.
Yeah.
Maybe not in music as much like it's portrayed here, but there are athletes who have horror stories of what they went through with coaches and now they're professional athletes at the top of the game, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know, would they say it's worth it? You know, they're now making millions of dollars playing in the NBA or something.
Yeah.
Would they be like, "Oh, I'm glad that coach like beat me into it."
Right.
You know, like,
yeah.
I don't know. And I think that's the point. That's the conversation that we're having is the point. I don't think that Chazelle was trying to say this is what it takes.
Okay.
I don't think he was trying to push an idea that there's just not enough people pushing themselves hard enough to be great.
Yeah. Okay.
This is the story. This is the story told. These are the two characters, and this is how it ended. And now you decide how you feel about that. And most of the conversations, like I said, I've discussed this on Reddit. You know, I've been in discussions with people. Most of the time, it's one side are people who are just like, this movie is terrible. It's just a typical abuser-abusee relationship, you know, and like the person who's abused just accepts the abuse, or, you know, at the end.
Yeah.
And then the other side is just like, no, I just think that's what happened here. I think that the fact that we're talking about it is the point, not that there was anything saying, yes, more people should be abused.
Yeah, right.
Trying to say that at all.
It's like people who watch Goodfellas and say, oh, that glamorized the mob life. I'm like, did you watch the whole thing? I don't want to be in the mob.
Or Train Spotting with heroin.
Yeah.
You know, like Train Spotting seems to have a happy ending if he's smiling as he's walking toward the camera, you know?
Right.
But you're like, no, I don't think
wasn't worth it. Wasn't worth it.
Right.
No, I'm glad you said that because, like I said, that was just kind of my gut reaction. Because I was, and this is going to sound weird, but it might be because a movie I watched recently with some people that was going to be a part of this podcast, but is not now because technical issues. We don't need to get into it. But we watched this really shitty biopic called Bezos, and it's this cheaply made Jeff Bezos biopic. And it basically, throughout the whole movie, cheers on unchecked capitalism, unchecked, you know, hey, you know, you're going to destroy all these little businesses with your big company. I know. And the movie wants you to believe Jeff Bezos is the hero. That this is the way... and obviously, he won in real life. I mean, this movie just goes up to the part when they launch Amazon. But I was so... I don't really get offended, but I was so put off by the movie with its messaging about, see, this is how you... doesn't matter who you screw over if you win in the end. And so maybe I was a little... had that on my mind when I was watching this, like... I got to the end and I'm like, okay, that was awesome, but am I happy about what it's telling me? Like, am I a shitty person, like a loser, because I never let that happen to me, and I don't have that much passion about anything in my life that I would literally bleed that way for it or be berated like that for it. Yet, at the same time, I'm like, I feel like I'm maybe... not so much overthinking it, but maybe reacting a little too, I don't even know what the right word is, because I'm very much a person who responds to movies with ethical open endings or amoral ambiguity. Like, I don't watch Taxi Driver and think I'm supposed to root for Travis Bickle.
Right.
You know, I don't watch a movie like The Zone of Interest and think Nazis are good.
Right.
Like, I get what these movies are trying to say. I guess just the flash and adrenaline of Whiplash was so intoxicating that by the ending I was like, I feel so good. This has just got me hyped. And yet, these are terrible people, and we're just basically playing this mental, not even chess. It was like mental battering rams with each other. And I don't know if I'm supposed to feel good about this because it in a way, I've seen people say this online, that a lot of people refer to this as a psychological horror film. Similar to like Black Swan.
Yeah.
Although Black Swan obviously is more, she obviously at the end kills herself. But she's pushed that way to the point where that movie showed everybody just how brutal ballet can be. Which I've always known ballet is nothing to laugh at. Like that's a tough art to be good at. And, I guess I was just not sure where my mind went. And I think hearing you say that you weren't supposed to necessarily agree or disagree, you were just supposed to talk about it. And that it wasn't wrong of me to think of this as sort of I'm not going to say this was a horror film, but it's definitely adjacent to that type of back and forth that you see in some horror films like Silence of the Lambs or Black Swan. So I think you've made me feel better about how I feel about this because I almost felt guilty for liking it. And a part of me was like, okay, I'm seeing this 12 years after it came out. There's got to be a lot of backlash to this movie by now in 2026 because 2014 was a different time. Let me go look. And it's like, nope. People are still arguing over this. Okay, I don't know what to think now.
I bet Chazelle is just ecstatic that that's happening too. I bet he goes online like, what are people saying today about Whiplash stuff?
Oh, I would be. Are you kidding me?
Right, yeah.
Like I would love someday to make a movie where people are still talking about it over a decade later and can't make up their minds about. I mean, I've had some people see my movies and been like, I don't know what to tell you, Ryan. I don't know what I think of that. I liked it, but I probably shouldn't. And I love that response because that's what I'm going for.
Right.
And I think, so I'm glad I was sitting all night thinking about this and just like, I really need to know what Chris thinks because if you were to come on the show and be like, Ryan, I absolutely think you need to abuse the hell out of people I was going to like probably call Child Protective Services.
Yeah.
And stop recording, send it to the FBI.
Any parents of any of the kids that I've coached over the years would be like, wait, I got to talk to my kid and see if...
No, I didn't think that. I just was like, I wonder, I really need to talk about, like, I rarely feel the need to talk about a movie with anybody else in a way to make me understand it more or kind of crystallize how I feel about it more. Usually, I mean, I could talk for hours about any movie, but this was one where I'm like, I really need to talk to somebody about this because I am very troubled by this movie. And I think, if anything, that's what makes it almost a horror-adjacent psychological thriller more than just a drama. But damn, is the music in this so fun to listen to.
I love jazz. I was into that from the beginning. So, but I don't know why, again, like I was saying, just watching something about a jazz musician wasn't jumping out to me. But finally I just did it and loved it. Yeah,
I almost asked you that at the beginning, if you were a jazz person.
I wouldn't say I'm a jazz person because if someone started asking me about it, I wouldn't know a lot, if I said like the albums I own, it would just be the basics like Kind of Blue and, John Coltrane and stuff like that. I don't get down into the lesser known jazz alleys or anything, but I do love it. I love to listen to it live. I love to go into like a nightclub, especially like Chicago or something like that, find a nightclub, it's the dark and someone's playing jazz, like the club that he goes and finds Fletcher in toward the end. That's great. I would love to sit in a place like that and have a drink and listen to jazz. That's great.
Yeah, I've been to one in Chicago, and as just more as a fan of live music than that particular style, I loved it. Like I thought it was so much fun. And again, it's just watching the musicians and just marveling at what they're doing, because I could never do that. And
a stand-up bass and a female jazz vocalist are just some of my favorite combination.
Okay.
I just listen to that forever.
Okay. Now we know what Chris does to fall asleep at night. And
Right.
I was going to make an ASMR joke, but jazz doesn't strike me as ASMR. Okay. Then I feel positive in saying that this movie thrilled me. In some ways might be one of the best so far I've watched.
Of that list, I'm glad that that's the one we went with.
Yeah.
I can't remember what else was on that list, so I'm glad that this was the one.
Yeah, I don't remember either, although you did have 5 that I hadn't seen, and to be honest, all 5 of them, well, like you said, you got them off my watch list on Letterboxd, so obviously I want to see all of them. So thank you for suggesting this one. I'm glad I got to it now rather than later, and I just want to shout at people all day. Like, I want to shout at my cats.
Make them better by yelling at them.
Yeah, are you upset?
I'm going to go find out if my kid is home, and so that I can go make him better today.
Well, then say it. Are you upset? My cat's just looking at me like, what? So,
yeah.
I don't have anything else to add about this other than thank you. And it was a very rewarding experience that really rattled me for a little bit. Like, I didn't lose sleep over it or anything, but
right.
Yeah, I was like, God, where do I stand on this? Because if I like it, am I a dick? Or if I don't like him, am I a wimp?
I think thinking about a movie even the next day, kind of, if you didn't know what you thought of it, but you're still thinking about it maybe the next day or even a couple days later. If I'm still thinking about something a week later and I didn't know how I felt about it, I'm like, I must have did something. I might need to rewatch it, but
yeah, no, for sure. So, you are absolutely more than welcome to come back anytime and pick another one off that list or start a whole new list. That's up to you. But yeah, you're definitely welcome back anytime you want, and I appreciate you doing this. I know you have been busy lately.
Yeah, this was fun.
And I know you have a new movie out, but I'm going to let you talk about that because now's the time in the show when you can pimp it out, plug it, whatever you got, let everybody know and where they can find it.
Yeah, so we just premiered yesterday our new short film, The Lost Dog. You can find out more about that at thelostdogmovie.com. Currently, yesterday's premiere is the only showing that we have of it. It's entered in film festivals, so we'll see where that goes or what happens with that. We are, meaning Keith and I of Full View Productions, are going to be I'm writing and directing, and Keith's going to be the director of photography on the Grand Valley State University summer film this summer. So that's going to be a new short film that will come out next spring.
Okay.
So you can kind of follow along if you like the kind of stuff that I write and direct and Keith shoots. You can see where that goes. And then Full View is we really kind of messed ourselves up when we were trying to be clever with our name in the year 2000. We needed a .com, so we spelled Full View FULVEW, and we've been paying for that ever since.
I've always been meaning to ask you about the origin of the name, so there you go. Okay.
We were sitting in Keith's house drinking and whatever, and we're like, let's just do this.
Yeah.
I'm tired of looking for a .com. And so you can look at FULVEW.com. You can see some of our work. We're trying to revamp that website because it's old right now.
Okay.
We kind of let it go too long. So our Vimeo channel is really probably the most updated.
Okay.
So you can look up Full View Productions on Vimeo. And yeah, that's kind of where we are.
Okay. Yeah, all that'll be linked in the the episode description. And I actually was at the screening of your film last night. Quite enjoyed it. It's very creepy. Very it's a little Twilight Zone-y maybe. It reminds me of something you would have seen on that or Tales from the Dark Side.
That's my wheelhouse is Twilight Zone. I'm always trying to make a Twilight Zone episode. Or a lot of times I tell people I'm trying to make my version of Poltergeist.
Right.
In the Twilight Zone. That's what I end up doing. So
No, and it's good, and the dog is very good in it. The humans aren't bad either. I only look at the dogs. No, I'm just kidding.
That dog was incredible. I mean, when I wrote it, I was like, do I really want to do this with a dog? I mean, the dog is in almost the whole thing.
Yeah.
So it's one of the costs of that movie was, pretty much done with all volunteers and money out of our own pocket. And one of the things we paid for was a trained dog.
Good. Yeah.
And I can't express how much that made that film work. And end up being something that we could even put together. So
that I wrote a cat into a couple of my scripts and had to work with a cat, and I chose my own cat because I thought he would respond to me. He's gone now. He passed away last year, but he is on IMDb. He's got a couple of movie credits, but he was a shithead to work with. And next time I would definitely want a trained cat.
Can they train cats?
Yeah, they have trained cats.
All right.
Recently in Aronofsky's Been Caught Stealing, there's a cat. There's a main, this big cat is one of the supporting characters in that movie. Great cat actor.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I loved that. That movie was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and he was at the premiere in his little car, and they put a little suit on him. So yeah, they can train cats. I don't think it's easy because God knows I've never been able to do it.
Right.
But so all that'll be in there, and I definitely recommend checking out his film, America's Most Haunted, and their Vimeo channel and all that. So
if you enjoyed this program, you should totally follow it online.
Oh, yeah.
Now you're talking.
So where are you?
Go to Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, Letterboxd, and YouTube.
Cool.
And search for Cinema Milkshake.
Do it. We'll give it a whirl. Why not?
And
Like, follow, share, and leave feedback.
you tell the world.
You certainly don't have to, but it would be a whole lot cooler if you did.
Believe that shit.
Word. Oh, that's good.
Until next time, don't let the bastards grind you down.
Listen, don't get prancy with me, kiddo.
Keep watching movies.
Dude, that movie was fucking sweet. In fact, you fucking ass it was.
And, most importantly, dear listeners,
What's up?
enjoy every milkshake.
I feel like something incredible is really gonna happen here.
Ooh, that's a bingo.
I'm disgusted and repulsed, and I can't look away.
What is this? Some kind of a joke?
Some sort, yes.
Bravo!
You're mocking me, aren't you?
How dare you?
Do you know anything about the art of film production?
Well, I like to think so.
Direction, the acting, the storyline, that shit was bad.
Wow.
That was fucking trippy.
Yeah, boy.
What did you think?
I can't talk about it anymore. It's giving me a headache.
Why don't you knock it off with them negative waves?
That's part of your problem, You haven't seen enough movies. All of life's riddles are answered in the movies.
I had enough. I give up. I want to go home.
And if I hear another sound out of that thing, I'll go ram it so far up your ass you'll be farting music for a year.
Wouldn't that be fantastic?